Hey, this is Josh from The Verge, and we're sitting with Stephen Elop, CEO of Nokia, and we're here at CES 2012 talking about, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Nokia's re-entry into the US market. We had a lot of great announcements over the last few days. We talked about our partnership with AT&T and introducing the Nokia Lumia 900 exclusively with AT&T.
This is the cyan version here.
This is the cyan color. We've got it coming in cyan and black.
Yeah.
LTE network, amazing, just blazing speeds on the network.
And this, you have the, this is the 800 here. You can get a size comparison between the two.
And so we've
it's way much bigger screen.
Yeah, 3.7 there, 4.3 inch there.
Yeah.
So we announced that. We announced that the 800 will be showing up in the Microsoft stores.
Yeah, that was a surprise, actually.
Yep, the Lumia 710, starting sales in T-Mobile stores this week at $49 with a contract, which is just a great way to go after the 150 million smartphone intenders. The people,
who are there on a feature phone, they're going to upgrade.
They're looking for that upgrade.
So let me ask you, I have a couple quick questions. I know we don't have a ton of time. Yeah. So really quickly, so you're selling the 800 unlocked. This is a smaller phone.
Yep.
Are there plans to bring that to other? I know you're not haven't made any announcements, but do you see this coming to carriers in the U.S., or are we going from the 900 and there'll be new phones?
So we haven't announced any plans for that with carriers in the U.S., but we did announce with carriers in Canada. The 710 and 800 are going to Rogers and TELUS respectively.
Okay.
So you'll see it there.
So they're North American.
Yeah, you're going to see them in North America. Now, what you're going to see, though, is just a continuing pattern of additional devices at different price points with different operators. So, you know, at each step of this journey, it's really exciting to be able to stand up and say, and here's the next element. Because a big thing we've been focused on at Nokia is changing the clock speed of the company.
Right.
You know, in October, just a few months after we even signed the deal with Microsoft, it's like, here's the 710, here's the 800, and then here's the 900 with LTE support being shown off.
So you have to do a 1,000 next, right?
We just have, well.
Are you going to go to 4 digits? Is
I don't know how high the numbers could go, but they're going up.
I think infinite really is the answer.
Yeah, we just have to keep driving forward.
So I have a question. I was at your keynote yesterday, not your keynote, but your presentation here, and you kept referring to these devices as the first real Windows phone.
Yes.
Now,
indeed.
HTC makes Windows phones, Samsung makes them, LG makes them, and you have a close partnership with Microsoft.
Yes.
What do you mean when you say the first real Windows phone? What does that mean?
What I specifically mean is that we are doing our best work, our best ideas, our best innovation for Windows Phone. That's where we begin. We have a new innovation. You know, here, for example, the optics in this, we've made some amazing advances in the capabilities of these devices.
You're getting a meeting
request, whatever. And the very first efforts land on the Windows Phone platform. Right. With a number of others, that's not where their primary focus is.
Right.
And so when we say the first real Windows Phone, what we're really saying is we're doing the very best design, the very best hardware, and coupling that with the Windows Phone software and all the services around it. And
so you think of it. You're saying you think of it as more from the Nokia perspective of looking at the device versus Microsoft saying, "Hey, we've anointed this the real Windows Phone." I mean, every Windows Phone is running. I mean, this is one of your points also is that you don't have the fragmentation issues across Windows Phone because you guys are all running basically the same build, but you're going to deviate from that at some point. I mean, you're at least going to add, there's going to be an additive effect with Nokia. Yeah. So then what happens there? Explain to me how Nokia brings its DNA, because you've obviously got the hardware DNA,
right?
But we know that the software is relatively unchanged from if I went to buy the HTC Titan 2, which was announced yesterday. That's going to be running the same software as this device. So what's the next? How does Nokia do that?
Let me give you an example. One of the areas where we have a tremendous strength is in location-based services. Now you may think, well, that's just a map or that's whatever. But as an early example of differentiation, with the Lumia products, you get Nokia Drive, which is full voice-enabled, turn-by-turn navigation in many countries around the world, included in the cost of the device. In many other platforms and environments, you're paying quite a bit of money to get that.
Right,
but with Nokia Drive, you set it up as your personal navigation.
And how integrated is that with the phone? I mean, could I jump from a Bing map search into Nokia Drive?
Those things are just beginning to be there, so that's a good example. But this is the point: is we've just begun this journey. You will see so much more like that, where the Windows Phone platform, and I emphasize platform because a platform says you extend, you embrace, you build upon it, and that's what we're doing to drive differentiation. And again, our very best work, our focus will be on doing that.
And so because Nokia is such a close partner with Microsoft on the software side, as well as making devices, will Nokia Drive come to HTC? Will we see those pieces of that Nokia has brought in go to other? I mean, if you want to keep
so-
an unfragmented ecosystem, how do you do that?
So the way you do that is there's certain base elements that will be introduced by Nokia and shared with the entire ecosystem. But we still reserve the right to say, hey, here's something that takes it a step further. For example, Nokia Drive is an application that builds on the location-based services. That doesn't fragment the ecosystem to include that in the cost of our device.
Right.
It just differentiates us. So I give you the opposite example, which we wouldn't want to do, and that is introduce some APIs, an SDK or something that cause developers to build applications on a Nokia device that couldn't run on other Windows Phone devices.
Right.
That would be a bad
So you want to utilize what's in this core of the OS without, you essentially don't want to create anything new, a new component that would mean that HTC or LG or Samsung or any other manufacturer
want the core
would end
there.
up with missing functionality because you guys
That's right.
have
We
done
want the
something.
core there. We may extend the core by contributing things, and others may build interesting things upon that, but we continue to reserve the right to say, hey, here's a unique capability that we want to enhance. Photography is a good example where Windows Phone supports cameras, it supports a picture gallery, that's all good.
Right.
But with the type of cameras and lenses and things that we still have ahead of us, you can imagine that there's special software that better interprets the images or gives you a better experience in imagery on our devices.
Right.
Those types of things.
Right, and that's going to be a noticeable difference, obviously.
Yes.
So couple. I know you're in a big hurry, and I have a couple of questions, and then we'll go. But pricing and availability. You guys kind of danced around it.
We didn't dance. What we didn't announce.
Right. I mean, well,
we very firmly didn't.
You didn't announce it, but you said this is coming. I think you use a phrase something like in the very short next months or few months or something like that. Next couple of months.
Yep.
So this is a Q1 device.
So we haven't been more specific than the next couple of months.
Okay.
And on the pricing side, we haven't provided the firm price.
Yeah.
But what we have said is we intend to be very aggressive.
Right. Aggressive in the high end premium device.
We intend to be very aggressive.
Right, because you've got the 710, which is kind of on the lower end of the scale.
Yes.
In terms of pricing.
But at the same time, even with the 900, we expect this to be a device that first-time smartphone purchasers will be interested in putting in their pocket.
Right.
So we're going after that.
So when it comes to what Nokia can bring to the table down the road, you guys had, you were doing Symbian. You've kind of left that behind. You did a device, a MeeGo device, which was kind of almost a one-off now. The N9, right? And there's a lot of good software there, a lot of good software design, gestural stuff.
Yes.
Can we expect to see, and some of your haptics on the keyboard, in fact, are amazing. It just
That's right.
it almost feels like you're typing on a real keyboard on that virtual keyboard.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of stuff that we can expect? Will it be that deep?
Yeah.
Will you work with Microsoft that closely?
We will. First of all, we will absolutely be working that closely. There's a number of things that typify a Nokia device, Symbian devices, and on the N9. Some things that you're already beginning to see come over. For example, the industrial design. This started with the N9, carried on to the 800, is now carried on to the 900. That's a good example of the type of things that we're doing, is taking innovation that's been successful on other platforms and bringing it forward, as well as introducing new innovation along the way.
But on the software side, will we see? Would the keyboard be a place where you might collaborate? Something as
any
deep
or all
level
of those
as that?
examples are good ideas and areas where we could collaborate. Now, what we do is decide which of those actually have the greatest consumer appeal within always a limited amount of time. What are the ones on which we need to focus because they're going to serve our consumers best? But you will see specific examples of elements of both Symbian and the N9 that will land in the future. Just as an example, with the N9, when we introduced the N9, we said that even though it's a first device on MeeGo and we weren't carrying on with MeeGo outside of the lab environment, we said that there would be elements of the user experience, elements of the development environment, elements of the industrial design that would live on.
Right.
Now what we've done since then is said, okay, you've seen the industrial design of the N9 landing in the Windows Phone products. We've said that the Qt development environment would land for the next billion, for the lower priced devices. We haven't said where that user experience, that gestural work will land, but it's going to land somewhere.
But it's not out of the question.
No, there's some very good work there that will continue on.
Okay, Stephen, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.